Most of us met our next guest in a film about 30 years ago alongside Robin Williams and the Dead Poets Society. Since then, Ethan Hawke has starred in countless films and plays, produced documentaries, written several books. In his latest spectacular film, which I saw this weekend, Blue Moon, he transforms himself into lyricist Lorenz Hart as he grapples with the end of his creative relationship with Richard Rodgers of Oklahoma fame, which was without Hart. It's directed by Richard Linklater, Hawke's longtime collaborator and friend on film like Boyhood and the Before trilogy. Here's a clip with Andrew Scott as Rodgers as the two discuss revamping one of their musicals together.
It can be the new Rodgers and Hart show for the fall. New gags, new songs.
New references. We'll satirize the whole war. Rationing, rubber drives, nylon drives. A new number for Vivian.
Go easy with the satire.
Nice.
Hello, nice to see you. Appreciate it.
There
Thank
came
you.
a lull, then Cordell Holson orders from above. I'm sorry, girls, put down your pearls, because now we're rationing love.
I don't know how we got Cordell Hall into
Who
Camelot.
cares? It's funny.
Ethan Hawke will be in town tomorrow to receive the 2025 Coolidge Award at the Coolidge Corner Theater at a sold-out event hosted by our colleague, the Culture Show's Jared Bowen. And I should say, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, not only is Ethan spectacular in this film, but he has done something in the film that very few people thought was even possible. He has brought back the comb-over. He joins us now. Congratulations on that and the award. Good to see you, Ethan Hawke.
Boy, am I proud of bringing back the comb-over. You know, it went out of fashion, and I remember I used to go swimming with my grandfather, and it would be so embarrassing because his comb-over, it would hang weird, and it would be so long and hang down past his chin on the right side. So embarrassing, and then he'd get out of the pool and slick it right over.
Oh yeah, but you do appear wonderful, and you talk about actually. I felt so bad for Lorenz Hart between the comb over and the fact that what was he 4'10", and you confront that discrimination issue that it hurt him.
Oh yeah, I mean the world is an incredibly heightest place. You know, I mean I'm friends with the legend and the genius Peter Dinklage. And, you know, it's not easy in the world when everybody has this association with, tall and powerful, tall and, you know, honest, and, none of which they give attributes to tall people that they did not deserve.
Exactly. Jim is very tall, Ethan. He's 6'5". I say that all the time.
I don't want to hurt his feelings, but, it just doesn't mean he's a great person,
It surely
right.
does not mean I'm a great person. Wait, Marjorie, you ran over the comb-over far too quickly.
I did? I'm
First
sorry.
of all, Rudy Giuliani has never been happier than when he saw the film. I want to say that first, Ethan.
Yeah.
But secondly, what kind of reaction did you get? It is so odd to see you in this wonderful part with that head of yours there. What kind of reaction did you get from friends and family and that kind of thing?
Well, until you really shave your head, you don't really know what your scalp looks like. And it's for me, it's just something I'd never seen before, and it has a lot of weird marks on it, and it's not appealing.
Oh.
No, I loved Larry Hart, and what was fun about him was that he felt like he was the smallest person in the room, so he had to be the biggest personality.
Yeah.
He was closeted, in a time when being gay was illegal in this country. He was incredibly mean-spirited and vain and bitter, and he was also incredibly warm and empathetic and a lover of everything. And so he's a kind of perfect example of the correlation of opposites. Nothing, everything about him was in some kind of careful balance, which made it really fun to play as an actor.
One of the things I was thinking about when I saw the film this weekend, and I'm sure a lot of people are, is your long, incredibly productive relationship with Linklater. And I know this is an odd... Marjorie and I have been doing radio for 26 years together, and one of the reasons it's so joyful is because we know each other so well and we intersect so well. I mean, how huge has that been to work with somebody who you must feel is like another side of yourself, and vice versa, I would assume, if he were here?
Sometimes I feel slightly embarrassed because it's been such good fortune. Every actor, we're only as good as our opportunities, and how I had the good fortune I was 22 years old when I met Rick. He just made Slacker. He was, I mean, you know, I'm not the only one to say that he was a real original voice of my generation. And to be a performer who loves acting, have a great friend who's a genius film director, I feel embarrassed. Like I feel like I drew the longest straw and I win the prize, but it's not for my own doing. I love working with him. I love the way he thinks. I love what he thinks is cinematic is not what he sees the world in a really unique and gentle way with a tremendous amount of love and empathy for human beings. And we live in a culture where there's so much malevolence and irony. And I love partnering up with somebody that's like, nah, I think the world is more complicated than that.
Well, that's one of the great things I think about this Blue Moon is that it is a complicated story about as you just said, a man with great empathy and great genius, but all these other troubles and addiction and all that kind of stuff. But I wondered with Linklater, because he did the before trilogy, Sunrise, Sunset, Midnight. Is there going to be like a fourth? Like on my deathbed or on the way out the door? What do you think?
That'd be pretty fun, actually.
Yeah.
The deathbed movie. The only problem is God willing, we would have outlived our audience. By the time I'm really ready to do my deathbed movie, our whole fan base will be on their deathbed.
That could be.
Can we stay on that a second? I know you're probably asked this question more than the other, and I'm sure you're sick to death of it, and you'll be too nice to say that. Why wasn't there a fourth? I mean, there's spacing, as all of us know who've seen them all, 9 years, 9.5 years. Why wasn't there a fourth?
Because, to be honest, it felt finished. There's
Really?
something, it's just a feeling you have, like, how do you know when you're done with verses of a song? You don't know. You just feel it. The first film starts with Julie and I in our early 20s watching a couple in their 40s fight, clearly been together for a long time. And the third film is we are that couple, and it feels like a perfect circle to me. So if we were to revisit it, it would have to have. I don't think it would have a title of Before in it. I could imagine us doing a film called After Midnight or something. And I don't know. All it would take is Julie or Rick to have a really wonderful idea to set us all ablaze, and we would do it. It just felt done.
We're talking to Ethan Hawke, who is being honored at the Coolidge, which we'll talk about in a second this week.
I think one of the things that's unique about your career, too, is what you've chosen to do with the documentaries and novels and all this kind of stuff. How did the Flannery O'Connor, I know your daughter Maya was in that, but how did the Flannery O'Connor, people may know, kind of a Gothic Catholic writer from the South, died very young of lupus. Unusual choice. How did that come about?
Life, I find life so mysterious. My mother was a giant Flannery O'Connor fan, and when she was worried I was a macho jerk in my 17, 18, 19, she started force feeding me Flannery O'Connor stories to kind of shake up my worldview, and it meant a lot to me. And then strangely, when she was about 16, Maya fell in love with Flannery O'Connor, and she actually worked up she adapted some of Flannery's journals into her audition for Juilliard. And it was a beautiful monologue. And I watched Maya, I worked with her before she auditioned for Juilliard, and I was like, this is an incredible character. And we just started daydreaming about a movie and what a special person she was. And could we make a movie about faith? Faith is a very hard subject. It's ripe for literature, very difficult to put on film.
Yeah.
And we thought it was a fun dare. And it, my wife produced it. My mother loved Flannery. It felt like a real getting in touch with all the women in my family in a profound way for me personally.
Speaking of the women in my family, my younger daughter said, if I didn't mention that your daughter Maya and Stranger Things was her favorite thing, that she would shoot me. So I've now said it, and we can move on. So,
We can move on.
Yeah.
Coolidge thing tomorrow. Does this matter? I mean, I know you can't answer. Does this matter to you? It's sort of like, it's not quite a lifetime achievement thing, but it sort of is. Does this matter to you?
It's a funny thing. It matters a lot to me, and it's a little mysterious to me what matters to me and what doesn't. But I respect the people at the Coolidge, and I remember
place.
I really respect them a lot, and I respect what it takes to keep movies alive, and the people who own and run independent movie theaters. I'm greatly indebted to. My life's work is meaningless without them. And for the great curators of this country, I'm really especially grateful. And funnily enough, the first time I went to the Coolidge, I saw framed on the wall was a picture of Dennis Hopper that the owner had taken before Dennis Hopper went out to do a Q&A for Out of the Blue. In his expression, he looks so nervous. And I know that feeling so much when you're walking out for a Q&A and you're like, do they hate this movie? And Dennis Hopper, as cool as he is, has this look on his face of absolute dread and hope at the same time. And they gave me the photo, and it hangs over my desk. Every morning when I wake up, I look at it and I think of the Coolidge. And so when I got this offer, I was like, hey, we had amazing screenings of Blaze up there. We had amazing screenings of Wildcat. I'm sure the Before trilogy. I don't remember the first time I went up there. But anyway, I could try. But
So you're nervous they're going to see Blue Moon? Are you dreading their reaction to Blue Moon?
Well, not particularly, because I've screened this movie. You know, we premiered it at Berlin and Telluride, and it's already been out a little bit across the country. So that premiere that Dennis was getting his picture taken out, that was the world premiere of Out of the Blue, and that's when you get that real heartsick feeling where you have no idea, is this Easy Rider or is this something people are going to make fun of, and you have no idea.
Yeah, I mean the Coolidge, because I live near there. It's a great treasure. You can go and hear directors. You can go and hear actors. You can go do an interview that you're going to be doing with our colleague Jared Bowen tomorrow. I mean, it's really for people that are, even if you're not a film buff, it's just great to see these people up close and personal and hear them talk about the films they're creative. I think it's a treasure. It's a treasure.
If you are a film buff and you're there as a director, and you're doing a Q&A at the Coolidge, and this beautiful woman raises her hand and asks you a question, and all of a sudden you look in her eyes and realize it's Liv Ullmann. You're like, I love the Coolidge.
That's right. That's right. You said something about Blue Moon I thought was very interesting. Speaking of beautiful women looking at you, I mean, you're a good-looking guy. You're an actor. You talked about how when you were in in the Hart character, how women wouldn't flirt with him, and you realized that kind of it was a whole different perspective because you were in a trench to make yourself really short, right?
Yeah, well, I don't know. It might just be age. It might be the trench. I don't know. But Wally didn't give me the time of day like it was in the old days. I had some rap going, but all my rap was over.
Yeah. Well, it's a different perspective on the world, I guess. Put it that way. Why'd you do this?
So,
go ahead, Joe.
Well, Ethan Hawke, are you worried about the AI, Ethan Hawke?
I don't want to bore the airwaves with more AI talk, but I will say that for me, it breaks my brain that for me, it's like a plagiarism machine. And it's the example I try to use is if I rode a bicycle or a motorcycle 26.2 miles, I would definitely get there faster, but I wouldn't have run a marathon. And what this idea is that we're going to cede our humanity to computers, it makes it seem like the point of life is the result of the action as opposed to the doing of it. And like when I hang a painting, this painting behind me, for anybody on the Zoom, if you can't see on the radio or whatever, I have a mural that Richard Linklater made for me when I was going through my divorce. And it means the world to me to have a friend in this world that like takes time out and says, hey, I see you, you're gonna survive this, here's something beautiful. Yeah, could AI do a cooler mural? Probably, but it wouldn't be from my friend. I have over at my house for my kids. Are they brilliant? They are to me because Clementine did it, you know? And it's full of them and their love and the stuff of their life and the stuff of our life, and this whole idea that a computer can drive better, maybe, but then I'm not going to meet Bruce, who's going to know the secret path, and we're going to have this amazing conversation when we get to the airport or whatever it is. You know, we're giving up all the joy of our life in this idea of greed and efficiency. And so I'm bored. Let's blow them up. Blow up the computer. We should put them on a mission to solve climate change, and that's it.
Okay. We're not solving climate change right now. By the way, I sense you are not a fan of the president. I know you were a Kamala Harris person. He's not doing much for climate change. We're going in the opposite direction.
Well, you know, I've been thinking a lot about that in politics and stuff. And you know what I just keep coming back to?
What?
Is how much I value honesty.
Yeah.
And when people don't tell the truth, we don't know the ground we're walking on. And then everything becomes suspect. And every human being struggles with telling the truth, but we have to push each other to make that the bar we all aspire for. And without the aspiration for truth-telling, and particularly from our leadership, we require them to tell us the truth. And that's my biggest problem. I don't know who I support and who I don't support, but I'm just against people who lie.
Yeah.
I'm against it all told, and I hate the manipulation of truth. And I keep one of the things I always liked about Jimmy Carter is you could not like his politics or like his politics. You always felt like he was telling you the truth, and you could get mad about it, but it was the truth from his point of view. And so that's my stump.
So,
and I'm out.
Ethan, when you were on with us a couple of years ago, I think it was around the time of Blaze, when you were left, I said to Marjorie, I said, he seems like such an incredibly decent guy. And I'm about to say that to her again at the news break. Is that real? Are you that decent a guy?
He's not truthful. He's
in real
faking
life?
it all, Jim.
Are you? I mean, you seem to be really normal. Are you?
If I am, it is completely to the credit of the people I share my life with. And I've always, nobody in my family ever asked me for money. Nobody in my family ever manipulated me. My father really values telling the truth. My mother really values. So I'm just repeating, my wife is like a really good person. Like, some people, they get partnered up with Iago and they're whispering. My wife is like a great friend. In this business, all of us can teeter out of balance. And I've been so blessed to have strong friends. I get to do these movie things with Richard Linklater, who's, I don't know if you've met him, but he's a world-class human being. He's so humble. He doesn't think he's important. He doesn't think his movies are important. He's not breaking his arm, patting himself on the back. He works really hard, and he cares about trying to give people something worth their time. And I love being his friend because any of these people I mentioned, our friends keep us in balance. And when we don't have people in our life that tell us you're talking about yourself too much, you mentioned Maya. My two oldest, my youngest are wonderful too, but I have two grown children, 23-year-old son and a 27-year-old daughter. And man, they keep me in line. They're remarkable human beings. And they're now completely unjaded about the arts. They're in love with the arts. And they help keep that love alive in me to be the person I pretend to be on the radio when I get home. They make sure that stays, and I love them for that.
Well, on that note, you even look good in a comb over, Ethan Hawke. What better can I say about anybody?
Yeah. Okay. Hey.
Congratulations. Good luck tomorrow. The film is fabulous, and we're really happy that the Coolidge is honoring you like they are. Be well.
Thank you so much for being with us, Ethan.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
See you later.
We really enjoyed it.